Hi, this is Michelle de Mateo, and this is the Mind, Body, and Soul Stylist podcast. Welcome to the world where emotional intelligence, leadership, and profound fulfillment is your everyday experience. Are you ready to glow from the inside out? Join me and don't forget to hit subscribe. Resilience, it's not about the journey, it is about the awakening. Resilience is our capacity to adapt to change and transform an experience into growth so we can emerge stronger than before. The word resilient comes from the Latin word resiliere, which means to spring back, to bloom back, to experience rebirth or recovery from a difficult situation or experience with ease, acceptance, and trust. Sounds familiar? I guess we all practice our resilience muscle for the last 2 years, or maybe we discovered we had one. COVID-19 really transformed the way we perceived the world, the way we lived, the way we worked, the way even we loved and expressed love. And today, our guest is someone that is creating something that will change our perception one image at a time. Let me share a little bit about her. She is the CEO of Scribo, a diverse image marketplace company that changed the landscape of visual storytelling and now hosts more than 14,000 artists from more than 150 countries and serves more than 25,000 businesses. It also enables artists to get their images downloaded and be hired for creative skills like art, design, music, photography, and video. She was named Top Entrepreneurs to Follow by New York Finance and featured in CNN, Business Insider, and Forbes. She is the founder of the first NFT marketplace founded by women and first photography-focused NFT marketplace. And also the author of the book, The Year Time Stopped. That is launching today. It is my pleasure to welcome and introduce to all of you, Christina Hawatmeh. Ta-da! Welcome.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
I am more than grateful that you gave us the space to talk a little bit about all the great things that you're doing for the world and to share the big news. So today your book is launching. That is amazing. So congratulations. And
thank you.
of success, and I really hope that it gets to the hearts of thousands and thousands of people. But before we talk about the book, let's talk a little bit about you. I already mentioned some of the highlights that you were named one of the top entrepreneurs to follow by New York Finance. You've been featured in CNN, Business Insider, Forbes. You're the founder of the first NFT marketplace founded by women and the first photography focused on NFT marketplace, correct? Yeah.
Yes.
So, Cristina, would you like to share with all of us a little bit about your story? What led you to this particular career path?
Yeah, I mean, probably similar to you, I always wanted to make an impact and do something much bigger than me. I thought, I sitting in like a desk or an office for me was like the most painful imagination that I could have. And I wanted to really do something that was affecting the world. So I actually went to DC for college to study politics. I thought it would be Madeleine Albright and really like influence the world in a political way. And I think like me and many people in my generation, we realized that's not really the fastest way to do it. So when I discovered technology, I fell in love with it and how much and how many people you could impact and the magnitude of it. And so they always say like ambitious people are ambitious. They don't know where to put their ambition. And that was kind of me until I had found this concept around Scopio, which I've been running now for 10 years.
let's talk a little bit about Scopio so everyone can know about this wonderful platform that it's a great opportunity for creatives. So share with us a little bit about that, please.
Yeah, so my goal with Scopia was to really democratize a space where like anybody could share their images and distribute them. And those images come with stories and our life and bringing the world closer together. Because obviously, when we meet or we see something, we change the way we think. And so much of what we've been seeing has been like the top 1% and distributed to the rest of the world. But like, have I ever seen like pictures of your grandparents and how they lived? No, I don't know anything about the rest of the world outside this like top tier of like celebrities or major news events. And so when I was just basically playing around and almost 10 years ago on Twitter, and at the time there were pictures of the Arab Spring, which was these massive uprisings where people were advocating for a better future. And I said, I want to save these pictures. I want more people to see them. I want to organize them. Why do they just sit on social media? So I started to play and tinker with that idea until I could think of something that was big enough, which is Scopia, where anybody could upload their work, they could share what they were thinking about, and then we could be archiving all of this incredible work for people.
I really love something that I read about you, that it was that your work, it's all about changing perceptions one image at a time. And I think this is a very deep concept because more than just changing perceptions is changing the way we experience things, the way we connect with emotions. And that is
Yeah.
a lot of the things that we do with our brain, right? So you're actually evoking here not only a change of perception, but also a change in the way we connect with our environment that I think that is super, super powerful. And talking about images, and the path that you have in this world, what was, like, let's say, the moment where you felt that you had a calling to devote your career to the creative world? I mean, I'm a creative too. I come from a fashion background, and
Yeah, you
sometimes,
look great with your earrings and your necklace. So cute.
thank you. Thank you. For those that are listening, come check us out on YouTube. But it's when you're in a career that, let's say, is not the typical back then. Now it's more common and more often to find people that are in the creative field. But for you, a woman in tech with all these ideas, with all these let's do things differently, taking high risks, taking the concept of resilience and really bringing the theory into practice. What was really like your calling? I'm really curious what happened in your childhood, adolescence. What made you, let's say, build those skills or make them like, part of your DNA and make them years later into your career?
That question is so hard because you never really know why you are the way you are. And like a lot of people are like, oh, it's because of this or this. Like, I really don't actually know. I mean, I have ideas. I was raised in St. Louis, Missouri. My parents are Jordanian immigrants, they're doctors. I was in a very fish out of water experience all my life. I looked different than everyone. I had to explain myself a lot. I think I had a natural excitement for presenting and talking, and I love to communicate. So there was a lot of pain, of course, attached to that. I grew up in the time of September 11th when people stigmatized Arab Americans, and I had to live with that for many years. Like that happened when I was really young, and it kind of carried it with me until only like maybe like even just the past few years, people have kind of been like, oh, okay, like we finally understand that it's not this person's fault. Like, so as individuals, people like, and I really enjoy like that now in America, that I feel like that has like lessened, but that was always like very toxic, difficult experience for a lot of us. So that for me created a lot of pain that I wanted to solve. So when I went to go study politics, I wondered, why do people think about, Arabs this way, or how come like one little TV thing changes the way everyone thinks about some little topic? And I thought, wow, like you could really break people's imaginations and their thoughts from like something very small and targeted. So I thought that was super fascinating, and I always wanted to work around that. I and then it's just kind of like you when you see the opportunities, you just don't judge yourself and you creatively go into them. So when I was in college in DC, I remember I wrote like a paper about Facebook groups and how they were going to change the world. And so when people join in these Facebook groups, they go meet in real life and then they do all these things that make the world a better place. And they rejected it. Like they wouldn't let me do it as a thesis. But then I asked my professor, I want to do it anyway. Can I just, will you like help me? So on her free time, she would help me. So like even though I had a lot of people around along the way, like institutions or whatever, being like, no, this is a bad idea, whatever, I always did it anyways. And I would just explore and try and then use that creativity to take me into wherever that whenever I got that opportunity to take it. So I'm always like ready for that to kind of take it to the next level instead of shutting it down.
Okay, I think this is a moment where we make a pause because what you said is very um, it's a very good piece of advice for everyone that is listening. When someone tells you no, listen to what Christina did. Okay, maybe I don't have the green light to do it, but I want to still do it, on a side, ask for help, and continue to pursue my vision, my idea, or my dream. That's how Christina ended up where she is today. It was not, from one day, it was not overnight. It was by being courageous, by being really true and loyal to her own heart and beliefs. That I think that is something that requires vulnerability, requires respect and discipline. So I just wanted to recap that because it's a really good piece of advice. Thank you.
Yeah, discipline is so hard and very important here.
Also, you are a woman in tech. So how is that for all the ladies that are listening that maybe are thinking about starting a career in this field and maybe are like, should I not? What
Come
would you
on in. Come on in. Please, this is your official invitation to come into the tech space because the more different people that are in tech, the better our products are, the better what we create is. It needs more collaboration. It needs more like of a global perspective. When I'm looking at like Elon Musk, I'm just like, I literally, I just blocked him on Twitter because I'm like, this guy is sitting here saying, oh, next I'm going to buy Coca-Cola and put Coke back in it. And I'm like, there are 14-year-old boys listening to you, idolizing you. You're like Jesus now for so many people. And we did that with Steve Jobs, and we don't seem to learn that we cannot idolize an individual. They're just a person. So the more people there are in tech and the more different voices that you hear, like the better the world is going to be, especially because tech leaders are like literally more important than the president. Like the fact that tech leaders have that power is so incredible, but there needs to be more people. Like it shouldn't just still be Sheryl Sandberg that we look at, like that's tech leader for women. We're the rest. So there needs to be people that take risks and try and have opinions about the way things are, like have opinions about the things you use, and even small changes that you can make, as a product manager or as a marketer or whatever, really influence thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of people as they're using these things. But it's a very weird industry that is very concentrated and small, and it's all the money is kind of like circled together. So while on the outside it may look very big, it's pretty small. So breaking through that and getting a name for yourself is like, uh, takes a lot of work. And it's not really the way it looks on the outside.
Okay, good for all the ladies listening. Now you know that it takes commitment and discipline and really knowing what you're getting yourself into, but never lose that
And
excitement because that's what will get you through, right?
and having opinions and voicing those are very important. Like so, I have a lot of meetings at tech companies, and I'll be in a room, and they'll be like, well, before COVID, virtual room or physical room, and then like there'll be like 10 women, and then or let's say there's like women and men. The women are always silent the whole meeting, and then by the time you leave, you're like, why didn't they say anything?
Yeah, why?
And I'm like, you're there, you need to participate. If you're in a room, you have to participate. You have to say something, you have to add value because you really need that collaboration in order for things to get better.
And speak your truth. I think that what you just said, it's really, really important. You don't have to be or agree with everyone, but respectfully, you have to also share what you think because that is important. And that's what really creates great products and art in
Yeah.
the world.
And new ideas and
Exactly. That's how actually great ideas come alive. Like
yeah.
back in the day, I mean, it was always in great conversations where the best ideas emerged. So we have to keep replicating that formula because it's really magical. And this
Yeah.
introduces our next,
Magic is a good word.
yeah, that it's making a genuine difference. It's not
Yeah.
just saying I want to change the world and peace, love, and yeah, commitment, but it's really about what are you gonna do today to actually make that happen.
You're
And
in fashion. Diane von Furstenberg has this great saying about magic. She's like, magic is everywhere. And it's true. Like my book is a magical thing. Like I had one conversation turned into a book. So you never know where that magic is going to be if you're open to it. And you kind of have to look for it even.
exactly. And that is the intro to talk about the year time stop. Let's talk
Well,
about it. How did this happen? So it was in a conversation. Tell me everything. Tell us everything. So this book is out today, and I will leave in the description where to find it, where to order it, and yeah, all the details. And also how you can find Christina so you can also follow her on all of her social media platforms. But share us what was you mentioned there was this conversation that we had, and tell us more about it.
yeah, so the book is called The Year Time Stopped, and it is a historic piece on 2020. It's 200 images from over 100 cities around the world, and each image has a story. Each image alone is like remarkable and will like give you chills. Each story on top of that will, every single range of human emotion you will feel looking through this. I've been working on this for 2 years and I'm still learning new things every time I read something or look at a picture. So this is my hope for this is it's on everybody's bookshelf. It's in libraries, it's in museums, and people are able to open it and really see like, wow, we did that. Like we were capable of that. We are so resilient, so amazing. And 2020 is proof that as humanity, like we can really persevere through anything. So I told you a little about how I started my company 10 years ago.
Mhm.
And I actually felt like I hate to say this because it's not like exactly true, but I've kind of felt like a failure because I've been trying since then. Like at that time, I tried to collect all those pictures from Twitter, like I told you, to save them so everybody could look back and see these millions of people on the streets and what they were talking about. We couldn't actually do that because we didn't have the rights to the photos. So we ended up getting up to 60 million images stored from Twitter during that time and like literally crazy stuff, like images. But then we didn't have the rights to the photos, so we couldn't distribute them. So,
Yeah,
so I, so
from there.
so it's like 60 million. That's a lot. And Twitter doesn't own them either. And it's just like they're just it sucks. So basically I needed to figure out a way to get every single person's permission for these pictures that I thought were valuable. So what we did was ended up creating Scopia where people can upload, anyone can in 3 minutes upload photos, then they add their story. So during COVID, we were obviously getting these very emotional stories, and I was like, this is like a lot. It's different. It felt like different. And then I was like, this is my time. I'm ready. I know what to do now. I couldn't for 10 years. I couldn't for 10 years, but while everybody was like trying to figure out what was going on as soon as COVID started, I was like, I'm gonna do this time and I'm gonna make it fucking happen. Sorry if we're not on Grace. But what I ended up doing was at least starting to collect them. I didn't know what I was gonna do with them. But they were up on the website. We have like more than 1 million images on the website, and hopefully we'll be at 1 billion in a few years. So we're growing very fast. So, so we have the images there. Then one of my customers, I have 25,000 customers that use Scopio, and one of them is HarperCollins, who's a book publisher. So I happened to get in. I actually reached out to the president of HarperCollins and I said, hey, by the way, you're using my platform. And I do this a lot where I just like will read, like me and you, we got the chance to connect. But the only way of I like when you don't have anything, what you really need is to like meet people and grow your opportunities. So I just wanted to tell her what we were working on. So she in one phone call was like, these are incredible and you should give put them in a book for people so that they can have these in the future. And I said, I would love to. They were just using a few photos for their books, but this was, and she was like, you can write it. And I was like, what? Like, I could be the author of this and write my opinions and have these images. And they gave it, and so we said, okay. And then we had a contract in like no time. Like, we only had one meeting, really. And and then so from that point on, it was a lot of work. Of course, it took us 2 years to curate it, but in terms of getting the agreement and the deal, she was like, I can feel your passion. I'm going to give you a chance. And that is the perfect definition of somebody putting their power down and their ladder to somebody that is passionate and that is capable, and just trusting them and believing that they can do it, because she had no reason to believe me or trust me that I would do something great, but she gave me that and I cherished that, and I've had total freedom to do whatever I wanted during this book. So
I think she recognized all the confidence and all the knowledge and all the passion that you have inside of yourself. And that's why she said, like, I can trust you, because that you can.
yeah.
I mean, for those of you that are watching us on YouTube, you can tell that Christina is full on breathing and living for this mission. Now that we're talking
So,
about passion, I really want to ask you about the intention behind the book. I mean, you mentioned I want people to see it. There are images, they will feel emotions, but what is Christina specifically putting or setting as an intention with this book? Because I know that this is, from the way you speak and from what you're sharing, I perceive that it's something even bigger than what we are seeing, let's say, just from the book's cover, let's say.
I mean, I went to Barnes and Nobles the other day. There's not one photo book on COVID. Like, where has everybody been that we haven't tried to like archive and organize that
And
time
also
period?
people to know, like, let's say, why, obviously we can all say why it matters, but from your perspective, like, why is your your drive, your call to, believe in this and share it and be on podcast and be, like, really
Mhm.
follow your dream.
Well, for this one specifically, because we did 102 cities around the world, when we spent 2 years creating like a visual that was did not have an epicenter, because everything we do is so like closed in, like America and COVID and blah. And it's like, hey, like the whole world, like people in a village in the middle of Africa and Colombia and like every corner of the world is facing this issue. How can we see each other as like humanity? And I think for me, if I'm going to be able to get that position that maybe nobody cares now, in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 80 years, 100 years, the fact that I can have that kind of, I'm the one giving you that. And I'm saying, hey, this is not from a politician. This is not from a journalist. It's not from a brand. This is from people all over the world. And this is everybody. So I think that power to me is a power that lasts a long time. And people are not going to remember now, but later there's going to be all these kids or whoever that are going to look and be like, okay, that's how I thought about this. You know what I mean? So you're creating a historical event, but you're changing the way people think about it. And because there's not like that many other versions, this would end up, for, in my opinion, be the historical record. So that's what I'm working towards on this.
Absolutely, and I think it's beautiful because we had a lot of heroes in your country, in my country, in your country, the one that is listening to this podcast. You didn't see
You,
it. Doctors, nurses, firemen. I mean, everyone was really living their movie in a way and trying to survive, or trying to at least learn how to adapt to this new reality, let's say. So it's really fascinating to also have that change of perspective and to connect with those heroes, with those people, and that in the end it's an extension of who we are at the same time. I would
Yeah.
love if you can share how was the process of collecting or connecting with all these photographers, because I mean you mentioned it's quite a group, right? You have 200 images, but how many
Yeah.
photographers?
120.
120 photographers. So how was that experience? Tell us a little bit of the behind the scenes.
Oh my God. First of all, we put up the audio book, or we're putting it up now. So we actually interviewed everybody about their photo and their story, and every person has read their own story. So we're building this into a full gallery immersive experience for people, and it might end up being in your local city. But once we started to like learn about who these people are and hear it from their mouth, we're like, there's so much more than just like a still image here. How are we going to do this justice? So we thought of the audio visual experience where we recorded everybody's stories in their native language and in English. And I think that was like really particular too, is that like just like the nuances of the accent saying the story felt different when you're looking at the picture. So we'll have that up on YouTube in our podcast, and then and we're working on more ways to elevate that. But every time I would talk with them, and interviewed some on Zoom, and like it's hard not to cry. Like it's so emotional, and you feel like they really took the risk. Like, yeah, we're the platform, we're presenting the information, but we didn't take the risk. Like, I wasn't in the middle of the subway station with my camera, like, or the hospital room with so they really did that. And I think that's really, really tough. And so when I look at like NFTs and everything that's happening there, I'm like, if more of these people get more money and become more influential, that's a good thing, because the deepness of like who they are and what they're doing in the world is so much more than we can see, and their process and the way they think, and so thoughtful.
And it's really, what you just mentioned, I think it's something that we should all consider, and is that responsibility of what we share, how we share it, and who we decide or choose to support, what type of content, what type of stories we are interested in listening. Is it just by curiosity, or is it because I really want to honor and learn from someone else's world experience, or right, or story? So it's
Yeah.
really, really wonderful. So wow, oh my God, I'm super excited, guys. You have to see it. It's absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. And as Christina said, it's something that you will keep, and it will be a piece that it will be not only for you but for other generations. And I think that, I mean, even though we're trying to be as sustainable as possible, I think that pieces like this, and to have them like printed, it's a real gift that honors what we all went through as humanity. It's really, really beautiful. So
And to pick you up when you need that reminder.
what?
And to pick you up when you need that reminder. Uh, that's what the point of having books in your house is. Like, when you know you can access information that's there, you grab it and you like, yes, I remember.
I think it's very important. I mean, and sometimes we lose, like, the real side of what you should have around you, the things that nourish your soul, right? In this world,
What is important for you, like to have around you, is like a visual reminder or a book?
I do have my affirmations, so I always have cards with affirmations. I have books that I love that I have audiobook, and I have them printed because I like to write notes or drawings, and I like to go back and just connect with them. I really believe that words have a very specific and beautiful power to transform the way we feel. So
Mm.
I am really that kind of person that really connects with books and libraries. So I like that. So yeah. So Christina, where can we find you? I mean, we know where we can find the book. We know now about Scopio, but how can people find you? on
Yeah,
social?
the book also is available at all major retailers. It's called The Year Time Stop. So go to Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, Target, Walmart. It's available worldwide, also in your major bookstores, which I can't wait to see how people treat that globally. And then I'm Christina Hawatmeh on Instagram. You can find me there and on Twitter. And Scopio is scop.io. We're Scopio Images on Instagram. So you can check out the audiobook on our YouTube channel or just visit us on Instagram to get all the rest of that information. I'd love to hear from
I
you.
will have all the information written down so you can just click show more and you can find all the details so you can find her and her team, because obviously Cristina has a great team and partners, I'm sure, that are helping her make her vision this wonderful reality that I'm sure will transform each one of the readers and followers like us, like me, and be inspired by her work. So thank you very much for your time and attention and beautiful energy.
Thank you. Yeah, teamwork makes the dream work. That's my favorite quote. I use it every day with my team.
Love it. Love it. Love it. So take
Thanks,
care
Michelle.
and congratulations once again.
Thank
And
you.
to
You're up
all of,
next for a book.
yes. And to all of you, thank you so much for listening. Please don't forget to subscribe and, of course, share this episode and details with people that you feel called to. See you next
Yeah.
time. Ciao,
Bye.
ciao.
Ciao, ciao. Thank
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the bell so you don't miss the upcoming episode next week. And remember that your opinion is super important to me, so I would love to read about your experience and your thoughts about this episode. So please leave them on the comment section. Also, if you have suggestions for other topics or people that you would like me to interview, please leave them there. It's super important. And thank you so much once again for listening. See you next time. Peace, love, and light.